Barcelona have just lost 4-1 against Sevilla away from home in match week 8 of La Liga. Absolutely pathetic. Atrocious. An eyesore of a game. These past 3 halves of football we've played, the second half against PSG and this full game today against Sevilla at the Ramon Sánchez Pizjuán, have been the worst football we've played under Hansi Flick by far. By far and away the worst football we've played under this manager. And it's not even close. That stretch last year, between November and December, when we were dropping points to Celta Vigo and Real Sociedad and Atletico Madrid, that was bad. It wasn't quite this bad. What the fuck happened to this team in the second after halftime against PSG? What did Hansi Flick say to them in the locker room at halftime against PSG that completely shut them off? Like, they look like they don't want to be on the pitch. The effort level is not there. I can deal with a loss, but the effort level isn't there, man. What is happening? That was putrid to watch. Honestly disgusting. There's no positives from that game. Absolutely zero positives from that game. I can't take a single positive out of that game. Nothing. I'm so disappointed, man. I am so disappointed. Especially because you actually took the lead over Madrid after they dropped points last week against Atletico Madrid. You were ahead. This is the prime opportunity to go into a Clásico in a couple weeks from now and be ahead on the table. And you can't even do that. You can't even do that. You dropped points before the last international break against Rayo Vallecano. The game before the international break, last international break, you dropped points against Rayo Vallecano. And now before this international break, you dropped points against Sevilla. And 4-1, are you fucking kidding me? I'm saying that scoreline out loud. 4-1 against Sevilla. And I get it, we're missing Joan Garcia, we're missing Rafinha, we're missing Lamine Yamal, we're missing some of our best players. That is not an excuse to lose 4-1 against Sevilla. Those last 2 goals at the end were unacceptable, man. Unacceptable. I'm fucking pissed right now, man. I feel like the North Liberty guy. Honestly, I'm fucking pissed. I feel like what else? Who else can I quote besides that fucking guy, bro? That first half was absolutely terrible. I said in my match review against PSG, the second half against PSG was the worst football we've played under Hansi Flick. That first half today, it made that second half look like we played a masterclass because that's how bad this first half was today. It was disgusting, honestly. Like I was wondering if I was watching the wrong team. I was like, am I watching Man United with Emery? What am I watching, bro? Am I watching Getafe ball? I couldn't believe that I was watching Barcelona under Hansi Flick. I could not believe it, bro. Like, we couldn't string 2 passes together in that first half. Sevilla were dominating us. If it wasn't for a couple big saves from Szczesny in that first half, we're going to halftime losing 3-1, 4-1, 4-0 maybe. If it wasn't for that goal from Rashford at the end. And yes, the back line was bad, but our attack couldn't do anything. We had 2 chances in that first half too. And both of them were shots on goal by Rashford. The one that was the pass from Kuwarsi and then the goal that was a beautiful goal, by the way, with the pass from Pedri. What a finish from Rashford. A beautiful finish. Maybe that's the only positive from that game is the fact that Rashford is cooking. But that was it. They obviously got the pen because Araujo, like, look, man. Isaac Romero, like, it's a throw-in. Isaac Romero's in the box. Araujo and him are tussling. To me, that's not a foul, right? Him and Romero are kind of just pushing each other. And then Araujo steps on him. And sure, it's a foul. You want to give him a pen? Fuck it, give him a pen. Like, I didn't think it was a pen. I didn't think it was a Stonewall pen. People are saying, well, people are probably shitting on Araujo right now. It was a 50-50. Then he steps on him. It's a pen. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's a pen. Alexis Sanchez, who's still playing football for some fucking reason, because he's still good at it probably. But he converts the pen. Obviously, if Szczesny goes the wrong way, it's a goal. And then Koundé gets fouled. In my opinion, Koundé should have been a foul. Or maybe he gets stripped. I don't know. Maybe I'm making excuses right now. But the point is, Koundé loses the ball. They go on the counter-attack, and Isaac Romero scores a goal. And they were having a way with us all the whole game, especially in that first half, down the flanks, just feeding balls into the middle of the box. Sorry, apologies for that. They were just stretching us out wide, and then just putting balls into the middle of the box, and we couldn't do anything with it. We couldn't do anything with it. Nothing. We were so lost in that first half. I couldn't understand what I was watching. And again, if it wasn't from some huge saves, if it wasn't some huge saves from Szczesny in the first half, we're looking at a 4-0 going into halftime. Because yes, I'm talking about, was it a foul, was it a pen? Sevilla were better. Don't get it twisted. Sevilla were the better team. Maybe I'm just being a sore loser right now. I'm salty, but Sevilla were the much better team in the first half and throughout the whole game. The scoreline is deserved. We did not deserve to win that game for a second. For a second, we did not deserve to win that game. Sevilla were better. And Araujo makes a mistake. Kuwarsi was absolutely fucking shit to me in the first half too, and throughout the game. The back line was terrible, man. It was so bad in that first half. In that first half, the back line was absolutely atrocious. The midfield couldn't do anything. We like, they were pressing us so well. They were affording our center backs so much, like especially Araujo in that first half. And even in the second half with Kuwarsi and Eddie Garcia, they were affording our center backs so much space, like, and so much time in the build-up. And then our center backs just couldn't find any actual good passes. So then they would so our center back would try and pass it to an attacker or to a midfielder with their back to goal, and they would press them. They would lose the ball. Our player would lose the ball, and then they would just go out on the counterattack. They would just go out on the counterattack and fucking cook us every time. We were getting cooked, man. We were actually getting cooked. Rashford started off on the right-hand side, and then obviously he switched. Flick switched him and Ferran. Rashford moved over to the left, and Ferran moved over to the right, which I thought was a good switch. But again, the goal of the game comes from Rashford. The only goal that Barca scored comes from Rashford, which is obviously a pass from Pedri, a beautiful pass, and then Rashford makes it 2-1 before halftime. When it was 2-1 before halftime, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we were gonna win the game. I was like, okay, you're gonna go right before halftime. You have 45 minutes. You're gonna go get the win. You're gonna go win it. I genuinely believe that, because this Barca team under Hansi Flick, we know they're like, when they don't complete a comeback, it's almost as it's rare, bro. It's more rare when they don't complete a comeback than when it's more rare when when they don't complete a comeback than when they do. That's what I was trying to say. Yes, it is more rare when they don't come back than when they do come back, because we've seen it so many times. And then that second half obviously started, and Eric and Balde both came in for Gerard Martin and Araujo, which, you know, good from Flick. I thought Araujo actually had a good moment in that first half. It wasn't all bad from Araujo. He stopped the counterattack from Alexis Sanchez. He did well there to take the ball from Alexis Sanchez, just kind of fluster him a little bit for him to lose the ball. So I thought Araujo did well in that sense, but then obviously Flick took him off and brought in Eric and brought in Balde, which I was super happy to see. And yeah, man, it was just like we had some chances in that second half. You know, there was good connections between Pedri and Rashford, and Pedri and Rashford and Balde. You know, Pedri had a shot on goal in that second half, and then we won the penalty, which, you know, I was super happy about. Right around the 70th minute, we won the penalty. It's a good link up. It's a 1-2 between Rashford and Balde. Balde passes it to Rashford. Rashford passes it back to Balde. Balde's, you know, trying to get into the box. He gets pulled down. It's a clear pen. Go to the spot. Robert Lewandowski, one of the greatest strikers of all time, one of the best finishers, one of the best penalty takers of this generation, Robert Lewandowski. You step up to the plate. It's 2-1, my man. If you make it 2-2, we're going to come back probably. We're going to kill the morale. We're going to kill the crowd. Their players are going to put their heads down. We're going to come back. Like we always do under Hansi Flick when we manage to tie the game after being down. Just score this penalty. Don't do a silly run-up like you always do. Just score the fucking penalty, man. And look, I would have been okay with Lewandowski missing that pen if he had a great game all around. He played like fucking shit today and then he missed the pen. The one thing you can do, you're a striker, bro. If you get the pen, fucking convert the pen. Please convert the fucking pen. Please. If you play like ass all game, at least get in front of the spot, go to the spot and convert the pen. And he does some stupid run-up, which he always does, which a lot of times it works, but this time it didn't. And when it doesn't work, it looks goofy as fuck. And you shoot it wide. And that killed the momentum. That fucking killed the momentum. And then Rooney had a couple of chances, but Rooney, holy shit, man. Rooney had a one-on-one. He basically had a penalty. Rooney was one-on-one with the keeper. A beautiful play. Rooney came in for Ferran and played a great game, in my opinion. He completely changed the energy from our attack in that second half when he came in. Completely changed the energy, but you got to finish those chances. You had 2 chances you could have finished, and both of them you missed. And if you want to play at Barcelona, you have to learn to take those chances. You have to take them, because those chances are the difference between us drawing the game and them going down the other end and scoring their goal, which was what happened. Rooney missed that chance, they go down the other end and they score the goal. The third goal to basically seal it. And then they get a fourth goal on top of that too. But that was the difference. Rooney missing that shot, and then they go down the other end and they score a goal. Let's talk about the players, okay? Because I have a lot to say about these players. So let's talk about the players here, because I'm not trying to make this match review too long. I want to get over it. I want to get done with this. At least Poetin won yesterday, right, guys? At least he beat Ankalaev. That's one thing that we can all be happy about. If you watch the UFC. But anyway, enough about that. Stop trying to deflect. Let's talk about the game. Keeper Szczesny. The third goal of the game should have been saved. It should have been saved. It was not a good finish. It just wasn't. You know, I think Barca did well there actually to go out and regain their shape, or actually get in good positions to defend on that counterattack where they're really vulnerable. And then, like, bro, he just shoots and it's a bad shot. It's not like, but that's the only one that I can blame on Szczesny. For the most part, I actually thought he saved us a bunch of times. Like I said, in that first half, he made a couple big saves. I actually think Szczesny saved us, but he has to be saving that. He has to be saving that. But anyway, maybe it could have ended 7-1 if it wasn't for Szczesny. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It could have ended 7-1 if it wasn't for Szczesny. Left back Gerard Martin got a yellow in that first half. I'm guessing that's why Flick took him out, and also because Balde's almost back to being fit. Gerard Martin, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. He's a good player. He's not first team quality for Barcelona. He's definitely not quality enough to be a starter week in and week out. I had a guy in my comment section in the match review against PSG say that I have an agenda against Gerard Martin. Why would I have an agenda against Gerard Martin? Why? I say what I see. When I see Gerard Martin play, I see a player that's decent, but just not quality enough to be a starter week in and week out for Barca. And, you know, I'm not going to say I've been proven right, because I haven't been proven anything. I'm just saying, like, the facts speak for themselves. That's just my opinion. Center backs, Araujo and Cubarsí. And then we'll talk about Eddie, because obviously he played the other 45. First, we'll talk about Cubarsí. Back-to-back games where I think he's really, really poor. This season, I think he's been really, really poor. Cubarsí is a guy who we all love as a player, but I think he has a lot of weaknesses in his game that are being kind of exploited now without Inigo by his side. And it wasn't a good game from Kouarsi. He had some good moments. He had a great ball to Rashford that almost ended in a goal in that first half, or basically our only chance before the goal in that first half. But apart from that, I thought defensively, it just wasn't great. Just looking like a headless chicken. Who are you marking? Araujo gave away the pen. Wasn't good. Had a nice tackle on Alexis Sanchez, but that was about it. Just a terrible performance for Araujo. Araujo is that type of guy that when he's playing well, he's amazing, and you're like, oh my god, this guy's so good. And then when he's playing poorly, it just like he has a tendency to sabotage the whole team when he's playing poorly. Like his mistakes are mistakes that it just fucks everything up, and we saw it today. So I thought both of the center backs were poor. Koundé was poor. Koundé basically did nothing going forward, provided no support in the attack once again, and defensively he was getting cooked. He was getting cooked once again. The two midfielders, Frenkie de Jong and Pedri, two of the worst. Like Frenkie de Jong is one of the worst games I've seen him play in a long time. His passing was sloppy, off the ball. It just like Valencia were having their way with our midfield. They were having their way with our midfield. And Pedri had the assist, and Pedri's worst game is still like a 7 out of 10 to me, but he didn't leave his natural imprint on this game, his normal imprint on this game. But again, do I think Pedri was the worst player today? No, far from it. Right wing, Ferran at first, and then we saw Rooney. Like I said, I thought when Rooney came in, he had some good moments. Should have scored, which pisses me off because he should have scored that. I mean, sorry, but he should have scored that. But again, he provided way more than Ferran did because Ferran did nothing. Man. Ferran did nothing, absolutely nothing. Ferran's a guy who, when you have a game and you're bringing him in instead of Lewandowski, he can play as a striker. He can score some goals. We've seen him score. We've seen him score hat tricks. We've seen him score winners for this team last season. We've seen him score. We've seen him score important goals this year, like against Levante. But I thought he was really, really poor today. Barely ever got involved in the game. Rashford had a goal. I thought he was the best attacker today by far and away. The best attacker by far and away. His relationship with Pedri is getting better. Their chemistry is getting better. His relationship with Valde is getting better. I'm actually really happy with Rashford. And that's another goal contribution, by the way, for Rashford. Quietly, that's another goal contribution for Rashford. So, a guy who everybody thought was going to be a problem for Barca, not going to work out, he's been our best attacker. He's been our best attacker for a couple weeks now. And that's the fact of the matter. So, props to Rashford because, yes, he lost the ball a couple times. He's trying things. And, should have scored that chance in the first half from that pass from Kouarsi, but he made up for it with that beautiful finish after the pass from Pedri. So, and now we get to the two guys that I want to talk about the most. First of all, let's talk about Lewa because Lewandowski was shit. Missed the pen, had one good flick that led to the Rooney chance. He had a little flick in the build-up that when Rooney missed that chance right after he missed the pen. Lewandowski was bad today. Really, really bad. And this is why people get mad at me. I said we need a new striker. It's not because I think Lewandowski's terrible. I don't like. Do I think he's world class still? No. I think people who act like Lewandowski is Bayern Munich Lewandowski or one of the best strikers in the world still are fooling themselves because he's not that. He's simply not that. You guys might have a love affair for him and you guys might like him as a player, which I do too. He's done a lot for Barca. But the fact of the matter is currently Robert Lewandowski is just a guy who can't consistently give you 90 minutes of high-end football, of great football. And especially without Lamine Yamal and Rafinha there who are not, like, they're not feeding him chances. A lot of the goals that Lewandowski scores is because you have two of the best, like, especially with Lamine Yamal, you have one of the best playmakers in Europe on the wing. And then you have Rafinha, who's another guy who can create chances all the time. And today, without those guys, we saw that he was non-existent. But now let's talk about Dani Olmo, because Dani Olmo is a guy who, it's really puzzling to me what happened to this man. Honestly, like the case of what's happening to Dani Olmo, it's upsetting and it's honestly concerning because I'm seeing Dani Olmo play 90 minutes today when he had no fucking business playing 90 minutes. Absolutely no business. If you want to kill an attack, if you want to kill a counter-attack, give it to Dani Olmo. And I try, man. I really, really try not to go too hard on players because I don't like doing that. I've never played football at this high of a level, so for me to sit here on my chair and act like I could do better than them, it's naive and it's stupid and it's ignorant. So I try never to shit on players or call them names because I can never do what they do. They could do what I do. They could talk about football, but I can never do what they do. I couldn't even play fucking, dude. I could barely make varsity, dude. What the fuck am I, like, what am I doing, like, criticizing them? But again, it's just, there's certain things that a pro footballer should know how to do. You should know how to do it if you're a professional footballer, especially a pro footballer at the level of Dani Olmo, who's a guy who we've seen he won a Euro. We saw him last year for the first half of the year be great. And now I'm seeing Dani Olmo, and every time we want to counter attack, you give the ball to him. There was a chance, I think it was in that second half, where Rashford had a counter attack. He was carrying the ball forward, he feeds it to Olmo in the middle of the pitch, and Olmo plays basically the stupidest ball I've ever seen in my life. Just the stupidest pass I've ever seen in my life. Just kills the attack, just kills the counters. I don't know. They say that Manchester United or where players go to die. Dani Olmo's feet is where attacks go to die. They just go to die. And we got fucked. And the fact that he played all 90 minutes is really, really strange. And now it leads me to Hansi Flick. I love Hansi Flick, okay? I love Hansi Flick. And Never for a second have I thought we need to sack Hansi Flick. I think any Barca fan that's shitting on Hansi Flick currently, they're stupid, to be completely honest with you, man. I would never for a second even doubt Hansi Flick. I still believe this team is great, and I still believe this team is going to win trophies this year. I have no doubt about that, okay? Like, all my anger in this video, just don't be fooled. I have no doubt in my mind we're going to win trophies under Hansi Flick. But it just seems like sometimes when this team looks bad, and they kind of get figured out by an opponent, it looks really, really bad. And we saw it today. I mean, a 4-1 loss is really unacceptable, man. We should not be okay with that. And I'm not okay with it. And those last 2 goals were just like a stab in the heart. But again, you're playing the high line because you're going out there trying to get a win. You're trying to get the result. You have the penalty. You should have converted the fucking penalty, huh? We should have converted the penalty, but we didn't convert the penalty. But you know what? That's life. It's a 4-1 loss against Sevilla right before the international break. This international break could not happen at a better time. It could not happen at a better time. This team needs to get their head out of their ass. Their head out of their ass. They need to get together and be better after the international break because this is not going to cut it. That's quite frankly not going to cut it. Yeah, those are my thoughts. I don't know. Eric, I thought Eric looked, actually I forgot to talk about Eric. I thought Eric looked great when he came on. I thought he looked great when he came on. Honestly, Eric changed the game when he came on. He provided so much. He changed the game. We still ended up losing 4-1, but I thought Eric was great. I think Eric should be a starter for this team. Honestly, I think Eric should be a starter for this team. He should be a starter for this team. Also had a header where he missed. We were creating chances in that second half, and we were creating some chances, but again, Sevilla just cooked us. Isaac Romero, Alexis Sanchez, their midfielder, man. What's his name? I gotta shout this guy out because he had a great game, man. What's this guy's name? Let me see. I forgot his name for a second. Let me see. Agume, that's his name. Holy fuck, man. I just saw they gave Dani Olmo a 7, by the way, on football. That's why you should never trust player rating apps. Never trust them. A 7. Those are my thoughts on the game. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I love every single one of you guys. For the best graphic tees in the game, check out the final thread. The link is in the description. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.